good, Shellitronnn here. You can call me Shells, and I'm back at again with a brand new video, and I'm gonna keep it a Bowberry biscuit. I honestly do not know what to think about this news that is surrounding our new offensive coordinator, Joe Brady. You've probably already heard the news by now, but if you have not, go ahead and peep this tweet right here from Ian Rappaport saying, Panthers OC Joe Brady, a bright up-and-coming offensive mind, received requests from the Falcons, Texans, and Chargers to interview for their vacant head coach job, sources said. A new name into the head coaching mix. That tweet was around 8 o'clock on January the 4th, just last night. And then in another tweet from Adam Schefter just this morning, he says, Texans have met with Panthers OC Joe Brady for their head coaching job. This was at noon. 1 o'clock today. These teams are moving quick. They want to fill these vacancies very swiftly because they understand that in order to attract free agents and maybe even understand what kind of players they're going to want to get in the draft and free agency, you need to have your head coach in place to figure out what he likes to do, his philosophy, what kind of guys he wants on his team. Free agency opens up near the beginning/middle of March. We already know the draft is in the end of April. So if you're one of these teams that are bad right now, like the Texans, like the Falcons, and the Chargers are actually a good team who have bad coaching, you want to go ahead and find your dude very expeditiously. And Joe Brady's a name that, honestly, I don't think many of us knew before last year when he turned Joe Burrow, a guy who was really going to be a 4th-round pick at best, into a monster at LSU. And the crazy thing is, Joe Brady wasn't even the offensive coordinator at LSU. I forgot what his real title was, but he was a passing game organization coordinator, that sort of thing. He wasn't even the OC. Wasn't the head coach at LSU. And he got an offensive coordinator job in the NFL after one season with Joe Burrow. And absolutely no one was surprised he got that opportunity because if you look at Joe Burrow's numbers in 2019 at LSU, these are historic numbers. Historic numbers. 76.3% completion rate, 5,671 yards, a 10-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio, 60 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Won the Peach Bowl, won the college football championship game, blew both teams out. Okay, this is a dude who went crazy. And Joe Brady was his coach, so it comes as no surprise that Joe Brady is getting head coach jobs or head coach offers so far, or at least, at the very least, getting interviewed for a few team spots. Now, are there some other guys around the NFL who are a little bit more deserving of head coach consideration right now? Obviously. Eric Bieniemy out of Kansas City might be the most deserving of all the potential head coaches in this offseason, but I can't sit here and lie and say that Joe Brady, in this season, this 1 year with the Carolina Panthers, with a new head coach, he's brand new to being an OC in the NFL, and he has 4, count them 4 players with over 1,000 yards from scrimmage on offense, and that's a feat that's only been accomplished 4 total times in the Super Bowl era of the National Football League. This is only the 2nd time since the new millennium that this has happened. And it happened with Joe Brady, where his quarterback was Teddy Bridgewater. Now, how much respect do you have for Teddy Bridgewater as a passing threat? Because under Teddy Bridgewater, we saw DJ Moore get 1,193 yards receiving on 66 receptions. We saw Robby Anderson get 1,096 yards receiving on 95 receptions. We saw Curtis Samuel get 851 yards receiving and 200 yards rushing. And I have faith y'all number surgeons out there can work out the math and figure out that is over 1,000 yards from scrimmage. But also, without their number 1 offensive threat, their next man up, that I think most fans had a lot of question marks about, Mike Davis, the $3 million running back. Over 1,000 yards from scrimmage. He ran for 642 yards and had 373 yards receiving. Come on now. 4 players not named Christian McCaffrey had 1,000 yards from scrimmage this season? Come on now. Joe Brady did a lot with having Teddy Bridgewater as his quarterback. And if you're unfamiliar with who Teddy Bridgewater is, let me try to give you some numbers to maybe paint a picture of who this guy is. Teddy Bridgewater in this season, with those 4 players who got 1,000 yards from scrimmage, these were his numbers. 3,733 yards passing, 69% completion rate, that's pretty straight, 15 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. That was the Carolina Panthers starting quarterback. Not 4,000 yards, 15 touchdowns, 11 interceptions over a 16-game season. But he only played in 15, then he got benched in week 17. So look, we understand what's going on here with Teddy Bridgewater, not the greatest quarterback of all time, and we still did something that's only been done 4 times. Well, 3 times before us. And then we were this finger right here in the Super Bowl era of the National Football League. So it makes sense to me why some teams might be looking at the Panthers OC saying, okay, Joe Brady, I saw what you did with Joe Burrow. And you happen to do this with Teddy Bridgewater? I think Joe Brady does not get enough credit for what he was able to do with Teddy Bridgewater. And look, there were some opportunities and some chances where, on 3rd down and in the red zone, there were some very weird things going on in play calling, execution. Maybe we weren't looking at our tight ends enough. I don't know if that was a Teddy Bridgewater thing or a Joe Brady thing. Maybe Joe Brady saw that Moss way too much and said, oh, I can't. If all tight ends in the NFL are like that, Moss, and I can't throw to a tight end ever. But don't get it twisted. Our tight ends are open. We just didn't throw them very often. So I'm not sure, that might have been a Joe Brady thing, but given a head coaching position, he might be able to do some work over there in LA with the Chargers. Have y'all seen that quarterback that got over there? Have y'all seen what Justin Herbert is doing over there? That man is a monster. Do y'all understand the potential of a Deshaun Watson in the NFL with an actual head coach who knows something about anything? And I do mean anything. Falcons, they got Julio. They got Calvin Ridley. They got a solid little squad. And the Falcons got to stop getting injured on defense. The Falcons had Steve Sarkisian for a long ass time. Now, that boy is garbage. Okay? They have had some real problems with coaching. Matt Ryan, I think Matt Ryan could be alright. I'm not going to sit here and call Matt Ryan garbage, but he's not great. They're probably going to move on from Matt Ryan. I can see that happening very, very easily. And having a guy like Joe Brady, who had his best season at college. If you get a new quarterback in, you draft a quarterback at the 4th spot this year in the draft, you can find a quarterback there. I would not be surprised if the Falcons drafted a quarterback. You might be able to find a guy that Joe Brady can mold and make his own in his very first year in the league, and he can grow with that quarterback. That could work. You have the pieces in place with the Falcons, especially considering how open this division is going to be once the Saints cap number goes way, way, way down. And once, look, Drew Brees and Tom Brady are both 58 and a half years old. They're going to be gone very soon. Their cap's going to be ruined for at least 4 to 5 years. This division could be wide open. And oh yeah, he knows a little bit about the Panthers already, so he can stay in the division. And Matt Rule's going to be in the Panthers for a long while. So he already knows a little bit about how Matt Rule likes to do things. So the main competition in the NFC South, he's already spent time with. Don't forget, he also spent time with the Saints as well. So he already knows a little bit about the NFC South. That could be very, very dangerous. I would not be very surprised to find out that Joe Brady takes one of these jobs. These jobs, all 3 of them so far, look very good. And seeing the Texans already take the initiative to hit him up and say, look, we got to bring you in for this meeting, bro. Interview you, talk to you, my brother. Joe Brady could be gone. And as a Panthers fan, you really do hate to see it because we had a long time of Shula ball. Run, deep pass every single drive. That killed Cam Newton's stats, killed his confidence. That was not the kind of game you wanted Cam Newton playing. That's how he played for most of his career. Then we had North Turner. North Turner's first year here, he looked good. Then he decided to play very conservative when we had Kyle Allen, and his offense looked horrible. But people do forget that those first 8-9 weeks, first 10 weeks really, of Cam in 2018 looked good. A really well-run offense, very creative, but once Cam got hurt, everything just became real vanilla, and it was just bad. The whole offense looked horrible. It was all checkdowns or garbage plays. So when you finally get a guy like Joe Brady, and you have him locked in, and he's in your system, and in his very first year with the team, he gets you 4 players with over 1,000 yards from scrimmage, and then he goes, potentially? That's tough. That's a real hard pill to swallow, because now you have to find another guy who can do something for you. Another guy you can believe in, another guy who can really mesh well and actually work well with Matt Rule, who's going to be here for a while, a guy who meshes well with the pieces we already have in place, because we have a good running back, a good backup running back, 2 good receivers. Curtis Samuel might be gone, honestly, and I do want to see Ian Thomas get used at some point. So it's going to be real tough if Joe Brady does leave, and I would be very surprised if one of these teams out here in the NFL does not overpay for Joe Brady. I think he's gone. Whether it's too early or not, whether he needs one more year to learn the game as a second-year coach in the league, who knows? I think one of these teams is going to go ahead and bet on Joe Brady and say, look, I hope this hits. Because if he does hit, that's a big splash for your team. Especially the Chargers, Texans, and Falcons. That's how I feel about it, man. I think Joe Brady probably goes. If I was him, I would go to the Chargers. What do y'all think? Do you think Joe Brady's going to be gone? Who does he go to? And which team do you think he'd work best with? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. And you already know what to do with that like button.
Cheers to you, appreciate the chance. Being told y'all I been the man. Being told y'all I had the gift. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Real ones gonna recommend. Count this as another win.